Well, good morning. Thank you all so much. What's happening? Well, I'm awfully loud. How's that? Okay. Good morning. Um, we're so glad that you all are able to be with us on this beautiful day. It's not often that we get to announce really great news, and today we are doing just that with the case closure of a 50-year-old cold case homicide. So, we're going to tell you a little bit about the case itself. We're going to tell you how it was closed, and then we will take a few questions at the end. So, first, I'm going to turn it over to our Chief of Police, Greg Durr.
How's everybody doing today? Today, I am pleased to be joined by County Executive Calvin Ball, Howard County State's Attorney Rich Gibson, and our cold case detective, Corporal Wade Zufall, to announce that we have closed the 1975 homicide of 20-year-old Roseann Sturtz, who went by Ann. Before I get into the details of the case, I am grateful that we were able to share this news with Ann's family. They are a strong group of people, and like any close family, they still grieve her senseless death. She was loved and continues to be loved. It's my hope that this brings them some closure after suffering for nearly 50 years. When Corporal Zufall assumed the responsibility for this case in 2022, there wasn't much to go on. In fact, this is our second oldest cold case. There was no DNA to test, no witness to her death, and little physical evidence. But that did not deter him. He sifted through all boxes and files that may have contained evidence or documents from the case. And what he found led us to where we are today. There was a letter from the Howard County State's Attorney in 1981 giving full immunity from prosecution to a man named Charles William Davis, Jr., who was already incarcerated on a life sentence for a series of other murders. That letter led to the discovery of a cassette tape of an interview detectives conducted with Davis in 1981. In that interview, Davis was unable to positively identify Ann from her photo as one of his victims, and the case went cold for nearly 44 years. So over this course of the last year, Corporal Zufall corresponded with Charles Davis in prison and eventually brought him in for an interview. Davis was shown a different photo of Ann, and this time he recognized her and confessed to her murder. In consultation with State's Attorney Rich Gibson, Davis's immunity was reaffirmed. While he will not face charges in this case, he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Investigating cold cases is not like what you see on Netflix or hear about on podcasts. It is tedious work, reviewing enormous case files and scouring evidence warehouses, and unfortunately, a lot of the time, it goes nowhere. Evidence is lost, witnesses die, and you reach a dead end. But in this case, Corporal Zufall's tireless work paid off. We got justice for Ann and her family. And I want to ensure the families of victims in our remaining cold cases, your loved ones, are not forgotten. Corporal Zufall and his team are going over these cases with a fine-tooth comb, and they don't rest until they've done everything that they can do to solve them. I want to now turn it over to our county executive, Dr. Calvin Ball.
Thank you so much, Chief Durr, for your leadership and service and the leadership and service of our entire Howard County Police Department. Today is a day of remembrance, a day of closure, a day of justice. After nearly 50 years, our Howard County Police Department has officially closed the 1975 homicide of Roseann or Ann Sturtz. This moment is not just about solving a case, it's about honoring Ann's life, providing her family with long overdue answers, and seeking justice no matter how much time has passed. First, I want to extend my deepest condolences to Ann's family. While nothing can erase the pain of losing her, I hope today brings a measure of peace and resolution after decades of unanswered questions. Ann was just 19 years old, and she had her whole life ahead of her. Unfortunately, it was tragically taken away. Her story reminds us why we must never stop pursuing the truth and holding those responsible for violent crimes accountable. I want to recognize and thank Corporal Wade Zufall and our entire Howard County Police Department for their dedication in solving cold cases, just like Ann's. It takes perseverance, it takes tenacity, it takes consistency. They do not forget victims, they do not forget grieving families, and they never stop searching for the truth, whether the crime took place in 1975 or 2025. This case is a testament to the power of persistence through investigative work. Through lost evidence, decade-old recordings, and re-examinations, Corporal Zufall and his team were able to recover critical details, secure a confession, and bring this case to a close. Since Chief Durr returned to the Howard County Police Department, he and I have made solving cold cases a priority. We've increased the reward for cold case information up to $30,000. We've expanded the cold case unit, adding 2 dedicated investigators, and we have invested in resources to highlight unsolved cases through media and outreach. Our work, however, is far from over. There are still 24 unsolved homicides in Howard County dating back to 1971. That means 24 families are still waiting for justice. Let today serve as a message to them. We will not stop searching for answers. At the same time, we are taking bold action to enhance public safety in Howard County today. Our new Columbia Mall security plan is a necessary and proactive effort to prevent crime through strategic resource allocation and community policing. We've also expanded crime reduction teams focusing on tackling gun crimes, criminal networks, and repeat offenders, ensuring that those who break the law are held accountable. To the public, I encourage you, if you have any information about cold cases, no matter how tiny or small the detail may seem, please come forward. One missing piece of evidence, one memory, one tip could change everything. I want to once again express my deepest gratitude to Corporal Zufall and our Howard County Police Department for their work on this case, and to Ann's family. Please know we remember her now and always. Finally, to those who commit crimes in Howard County, please know that we will not stop our efforts, and we take crime seriously. We remain dedicated to ensuring Howard County is the place where residents are not only safe, but feel safe. Thank you.
Next up is Howard County State's Attorney Rich Gibson.
Good morning. For nearly 50 years, the family of Roseann Sturtz has lived with unanswered questions, uncertainty, and pain. As a parent myself, I can imagine that lack of certainty about what happened to my child would be crushing. Approximately 5 years after her death, the case was still unsolved and there were no real leads. On October 14th, 1980, then State's Attorney William Himes drafted a letter directing the police to inform Davis that if he cooperated fully in providing information about Ann's murder, he would not be prosecuted for any crimes related to her death. The power to grant immunity rests solely with the prosecutor. There are 2 kinds of immunity which we can grant: transactional immunity and use or derivative use immunity. Transactional immunity, which is referred to as blanket immunity, protects against prosecution entirely. Derivative use immunity, which only prevents a defendant's statements from being used against them, is the distinction between the 2. In this case, my predecessor, State's Attorney Himes, granted the broadest form of immunity, transactional immunity, effectively preventing any prosecution of Mr. Davis for the murder of Ms. Sturtz. This was done to get answers for the victim's family. The defendant, Charles William Davis Jr., is currently incarcerated and serving 3 life sentences plus 45 years for other murders, which he was convicted for. While this outcome does not provide specific justice for the killing of Ms. Sturtz, it does mean the community is safe, and it does give answers to the victim's family. Again, my heart goes out to the family of the victim, and I'm grateful that they were able to take some steps to provide them with some closure and keep this community safe. Thank you.
The Sturtz family was invited to join us today. Corporal Zufall has developed a close relationship with them over time. They opted not to join us in person, but asked if I would read an excerpt from a statement that they put together, so I'm happy to do that on their behalf. Also, I would encourage you, shortly after the news conference, we will be posting a video on social media. They were very much agreeable to talking with us at the police department and our videographer, Seth Hoffman, who went out and talked to them directly. So we'd encourage you to take a look at that and use from it whatever works for you. So from the Sturtz family, thank you so much for all your hard work. We cannot express enough gratitude to the HCPD and Corporal Wade Zufall, as we never thought we would have any closure after almost 50 years. We just wanted Roseann to rest in peace, and now she can. Charles William Davis Jr. destroyed our family and our childhoods. We were relieved to learn that he has been serving 3 life sentences since 1978 for these terrible crimes. Today, in March 2025, we are grateful to have the closure that we have been praying for since 1975. Thank you to the police department for working so diligently on Roseann's cold case and bringing our family the peace we deserved. The warmth that was shown to us over these past few months will be forever in our hearts. Rest in peace to our beloved sister, Roseann. At this time, we can open up if you have any questions that you'd like answered about the case or the process that was undertaken to get this case closed. Corporal Wade Zufall.
Two questions. Was Ms. Sturtz from Howard County, from Maryland, and is your family still here in this area? That was my...
Okay, so our first question was she from Howard County, Maryland? She was not. She lived in Baltimore, Maryland, and her sisters, all 4 sisters, currently live in the regional area.
And did you... I was wondering if there's a wider swath of people who may have known her growing up, even went to school with her, and may, when they hear this, it may... I was wondering where she went to high school, or any kind of links to the past that people might identify.
Yeah, certainly when a case like this comes out and we get the assistance with the media, you'll get a lot of questions, from people that knew her growing up. She did grow up in the Baltimore area. Her sisters all went to school in that area. And some of her sisters just live outside of the city from where, Ann grew up with all of them. So we certainly anticipate getting some more information, possibly from some friends, coworkers, maybe some students that she grew up with. So if there's anybody out there that has any information they would like to speak to us about, please contact us.
And my other question about the case is, I wondered if you could fill in some details. Was he incarcerated already when he was given the immunity, and is that why were the cases he's incarcerated for connected to her possibly in any way, or could he be a suspect in any other murder cases here or anywhere else?
Well, what I can tell you that he was incarcerated in 1981 when the immunity was granted. I do understand that he was involved in some other cases, and now that you've given me the time, I'd like to thank our partners in Baltimore County Police, Anne Arundel County Police, Maryland State Police. They've all played a role in assisting us with giving us information in reference to those cases. I'm specifically just going to give you an answer on our case right now. I'm not going to speak on behalf of their cases, but I'm sure that they'd be willing to speak to you if you'd like to talk to them.
Can you fill in some details about what he, when you eventually interviewed him, what he told you about what happened? The details of how she died and how she ended up in Columbia.
Okay. Yeah. So Charles ended up talking to me, and his main reason why he wanted to talk to me, we all know him as Charlie, was he wanted to give closure to the family. He said that several times, that he thought it was the best thing to do. He just said that he met Ann at a local bar, and they left the bar, and they got into an argument, and then that's when a physical confrontation had occurred during that time, and according to Charlie Davis, it was at that time that he ended up strangling her, and that was the cause of death.
Sir, can you spell your first and last name just so that we have it all correct?
Sure. First name is Wade, W-A-D-E. Last name is Zufall, Z zebra, U, F as in Frank, A-L-L.
And sir, can you speak to just having to give this such a fresh look and actually have a result here? I mean, what's that feel like for you to kind of have this ending for everyone involved?
Oh, it's important, but you know, you're only as good as the people that surround you. You know, and I want to say God bless to the men and women of the Howard County Police Department, those that are currently here, those that came before me, those that will be here after me. All the hard work that the patrol officers, the detectives, the supervisors did prior to that all played a role in this case. You know, I also want to thank, we have an internship with our loyal university partners, their Forensic Science Division under direction of Dr. Rivers. We had a student that, you know, assisted me in this case. Her name was Kellyanne Gatto. She assisted me working this case as well. So there's just a lot of people that had a part in this case, and including the people that are standing behind me right now. But it's a great honor when you have that opportunity, you know, to make that phone call to that family. It's a great honor. And one of the things I told the sisters yesterday, I said, if there's a such thing as closure, I hope I was able to provide them with that.
Just to clear a few things up here. How old is Mr. Davis now?
Mr. Davis is in his 70s.
Okay, and he's been tried for 3 other murders, or
That's correct.
Two. So this would be 4.
That's correct.
Okay. So you call him a serial killer, serial rapist. I just did a quick search on his name and found the details of those other cases.
To my knowledge, the definition of a serial killer is one that has 2 or more killings. So, yes, sir.
Can you indicate that he was involved in any more? Were these it?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that right now. Just know that we're going to continue the investigation as far as we need to go, but I'm not going to speak about that right now.
Are you able to, I'm sorry, just to speak to how his name came up back in the 80s, and obviously you weren't working the case then, but how that thread was dropped before you picked it up again?
Yeah, Mr. Davis was involved in several cases in the 1970s. So the detectives, original detectives that worked that case, doing their due diligence, they decided to do some victimology on our victim, which brought them to Mr. Davis, and that's really where the whole case takes off. Is they had offered him that immunity that Mr. Gibson spoke about earlier in 1981, and that's what really started this case, and actually just brings us to where we are today.
Where he's incarcerated?
He's incarcerated in the Jessup Correctional Institute.
So the video that will be released in very, very shortly after this event does include audio from the original 1981 interview, as well as video of Detective Corporal Zufall interviewing him now. So we encourage you to take a look at that. And we also will be issuing a news release after the press conference that will include all of the details, some of the details that you guys are asking about. So I think we're going to wrap it up, but you know how to reach us. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact me or my office. Thank you. Enjoy your day.